Okay, so my next question is.
I'd like to talk about the how modern warfare is, because a lot of people they don't realize how it is. And can we talk about it? Just in general.
How is modern warfare?
Modern warfare, yes. So I would describe modern warfare as a terrible disappointment. We had a village, I think 2 weeks ago, and there were these, I think, one or two Americans and from other countries as well, and they went to an outpost, and they received a shell from the not too far, not too close from the Russians, the big shells and the artillery shells, and then they went like they said, okay, we're going out. We don't want this anymore. So these guys didn't see any Russians, and yet they were almost killed by the Russians. But that's typical of modern warfare. Terrible disappointment. You think you're gonna go into some glorious war, you're gonna make an assault, like you're gonna be in a game, and then you're gonna shoot people, and then you're gonna conquer back a territory. But in fact, for most people, modern warfare is you're gonna dig a trench, you're gonna wait cold, miserable, it's gonna be rainy, you're gonna do nothing except waiting. And then you're gonna get bored, you're gonna go out smoking, and then you're gonna get killed by somebody who you don't even see, by some remote weapon system, And that situation, I'm telling you, happened a week ago to me, right? So I was going into an OP, and this OP, that trench, was surrounded by tanks, And I went there, and with my colleague, his nickname Shadow, is Canadian. So we went there, and we were on a mission to know where the tanks were in the region. And I told my friend, okay, go into the trench, It was the size of a bed, I would say. So I told my friend, okay, I told Shadow, go into the trench. I know it's boring, but that's war. You need to protect yourself. 75% of the job is not to do assault and shoot at infantry, just to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, you need to hold Ukraine. And take a country, you need to send infantry. But sending infantry against infantry is very costly, So you need, sounds simple, but to conquer a country, you need to kill as much enemy infantry as possible remotely. So when you're ready to send your infantry, they don't have any, they don't have any more infantry, right? So it's less costly to take this country. So most of in modern warfare, including First World War, Second World War, most of the soldiers, they get killed by remote systems like artillery, airplanes, and such things. And it's the same here, except that the weapons are even more effective. So during Second World War, the tanks could shoot a few 100 meters, maybe more for some system, depend, but most of the time it was not that far. Now they can see humans kilometers away. So yeah, going back to the story. So we are in this trench. I tell my colleague Shadow, okay, go into the trench because it's so dangerous. Stay there as protection. And I know it's boring, but it's necessary. And he listened to me. So he went into with his rifle and just waited. And then the two Ukrainian soldiers, they were new soldiers. They came out of the trench. We were like in a small wood, And I told these two Ukrainians, okay, get back into the trench. Modern warfare, how it works is if you have nothing to gain from exposing yourself, you should hide and protect yourself. Simple, very simple. You don't have to be smart to do it, but you still have to do it. So I told them, go back into the trench. They would not listen. So they went out of the trench. We were in small woods, so still covered in some protection, but it's not very good, So they went out, start smoking. So they were like, okay, it's cold, and it was in the morning. The thing is, in the morning, everything had cooled down, because the tanks, they have thermal equipment, and in the morning, it's very easy for them to spot humans. Because, after sunset, let's say, you have rocks, you have different type of dirt, and so the car has like a little patch of, each spot, I would say. So maybe might look like sometime for modern equipment, like humans, maybe. So it's harder to spot humans, But in the morning, it's more easy it's easier to spot humans because they are like spots, in a way, hot spots. So I told them, okay, don't do that. Go back into the trench. And then they start talking about the tanks and so on, and they went close to the edge of the wood. No, not at the very edge, but close. And I said, okay, don't do that. Come back, come back, come back. That's very dangerous what you're doing. And I had this impression of, okay, soldiering, basic soldiering, you don't have to be smart, but you still have to do it. You should not bunch yourself with other soldiers, in modern warfare, because it brings danger, okay? We humans tend to feel safe when we are grouped, okay? It's human, I guess, but in modern warfare, you should not do that. In Kurdistan, I saw many Peshmerga being shot that way. They were grouped, talking, and then machine gun. And So what happened is that I just told myself, okay, I should go away from them and hide, not like walking, like standing and by the end. So I took all my camouflage sniper stuff and even camouflage, I had this camouflage already. So I moved 15 meters away, I would say. And maybe 20 seconds after I told them to come back, like a huge explosion, like my ears, I could not hear on this side, it was like a big push, very violent. And I saw all the smokes because I had my binocular like this, and I saw all the smokes. And it smelled like, it's hard to describe, but you smell death. It's like death is there. Okay, it's hard to describe. But I saw the shrapnel, they're like lasers, like going in front of me. Right away, I knew, okay, that's not good. So violent. And then I went back because my brain already registered that there was this path in the wood I could go, protect, covered, So I went to this little path, went back to the trench, and in a trench is like a hole, but you have a small mound of dirt around them. So my equipment was there already. So I went back to the trench, and my friend Shadow was like shaking as hell. He's like, what the fuck? And he was right there. He was very close from the explosion. I looked to the left, and maybe 5 meters from me, I saw one Ukrainian soldier, his legs were destroyed, like crushed, and he was all like, the body was fucked, that was over for him. He was dead, not moving. And I knew at that point it was useless to help him, because I saw many such situations in other wars, and he looked like nothing to do. Anyway, it was too dangerous to get to him, because it was still in the sight of the tank, right? It was a tank that shot us, obviously. It was so perfect, so quick, so snipers-like, so very perfect shot. Anyway, so I could not go there, okay? And the explosion removed many branches. There were branches on the ground, and I could not go there because there was like a tunnel, I would say, of visibility, so the tank could see even more, That was over. And then I look, a few seconds after that, I look, and there was this other Ukrainian, the older one, and he was, maybe 2 or 3 meters from me. And one leg was chopped, like you can see all the flesh and the blood, and the rest of the body was in very bad state. And he had his eyes closed, but he was all crisp, in very huge pain. But still, I think he wasn't maybe fully conscious at that point. But he has his eyes closed, and he was still breathing, and you can tell he was so shaken. It's like 1,000 people just hit him at the same time, and then he collapsed, his last breath. I look at, it was like a perfect movie scene. You look at the movie with the flash and explosion, it was perfectly. It was perfectly staged. The flash, all the body was in place. That's how modern warfare works. You go out of the trench, you smoke, you're careless, and then you get killed instantly. That's how it works. You don't see a glorious assault on your position and so on, right? That's just one example, because when we came back from this patrol, other things happened after this patrol, but it wasn't over. But 30 minutes after we came back, 2 other guys got killed a few meters away, this same kind of situation. Carelessness, that's our experience. I know a good Ukrainian soldier which are experienced, and we don't have that many losses. In Irpin, we went to a place, and because we had to take some ground, because the unit before us, the other unit, lost 40 guys because of artillery, in one night, okay? That was lots of casualties. But ours, we didn't suffer any loss. In my group in Irpin, we just had 1 wounded by shooting, actually the first patrol I did in European was that situation. But other than that, we had lots of close calls, but we still were not so many casualties. But when you don't have experience, you see the difference, because in the past weeks, I think the past 10, I would say 2 weeks, in the place I was mixed with experienced soldier and new soldier, and the new soldier got 6 dead guys, just in a few days. It's like every day there would be like guys dying. But we were not too many. We were just a small village. So at some point they started to get nervous for some reason. But anyway, that's how modern warfare works. You're just sitting somewhere. You're bored. Nothing happens. Oh, everybody told me I would get killed instantly, and nothing happens. It's so boring here. Oh, let's go out of the trench and smoke and chat about the tanks and blah blah blah. And blink, and you're not there anymore. That's how modern warfare works.